Like, like anybody else there? Hello, hello. Can anybody hear me? Like, I feel like I'm on my own island sometimes, and maybe we are in our own island sometimes, and that's just the reality of things. But I can't help but see other people suffering. And Cali, they want everyone in an EV. Yep. Ah, that's the state of things. Oh, who we got here? We got Alpha Zero. What's up, buddy?
Hi, Hugh, and hi, everybody in chat. Good to see you.
Wow. I didn't know you were on. You
Oop,
were
let me
watching.
let me cut this down. There we go. This is better.
Yeah, I didn't know you were watching.
I just got back from the gym, and I saw you on, and I figured, well, let me wash up, and I'll see if I could get on there.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
and I heard a lot what you were saying. You know, you started with the reality, then you went into the California reality, I guess you could call it. It's that's one of the reasons I left. I couldn't take it anymore. I mean, the freaking rules
Well,
and idiotic.
I'm gonna be bringing that issue up as well.
Yeah, they're
Which
just
is the answer leaving? Like, is that the answer?
you know, Nevada's been somewhat corrupted, but it's not bad. Arizona's probably a little better, but Nevada's not bad. I think Arizona's a little better, but man, like you said, how high do the prices have to go on everything before? I mean, what are they trying to do? I mean, what's the goal? What's the goal? To have everybody beg on their knees for like food stamps? I mean, really?
The
Well,
goal.
anyways, you mentioned a couple things. I was at Flattoberfest, my first one, because I live right here. And before I went, so many people were saying, "Oh, wait till you feel that energy." You know, when you get in the room and you have like 400 people and they're all like flat Earth and all. And I'll have to tell you that I expected a pretty good feeling of energy, and I which I didn't get. But I'll tell you what I got though. It is probably the most trustworthy group I've been around in like 30 years. I felt I could trust 99% of the people there. Like for instance, if I just left my wallet on the table next to a drink or something and came back 5 minutes later, I think there's zero chance it would be stolen. Maybe some chance it would be lost and found or something, but I don't think anybody would take it. It was just, and I don't agree with everybody, with all their different stances on different things, but I think the commonality is they've gotten to the point where trustworthiness and at least giving like your fellow man or woman a chance to like present themselves and to see what they're about rather than like, hey, can I sell you a used car and whatever else, and politician, like all that stuff. So that was the main vibe I got there. Rather than energy, it was more like just a trust.
Yeah, cool. I've never been to a Flattoberfest, but it does sound like a good time of just hanging out. And I know a lot of people like to drink and eat there. So I think the best thing is it just creates a good community of friends. People get to know each other, meet each other face to face. I think that's what's lacking nowadays is the actual in person experience, and it's good to see when they can do that. Um,
But a lot of the people there, they function on vibe, like unlike the NPCs that are just like, don't know what's going on. And I went up to Dave Murphy. It was on day one. Actually, it was on day minus one. I think it was Friday late afternoon. He had just flown in, and he walked in there, and I went up to him. I said, "Hi, Dave." I flipped my badge over, and I got this like humongous like bear hug. Hey, how you doing? Hey. And I'm like, I didn't expect that, especially from a heavy hitter like Dave Murphy. You know what I mean? But they're just like genuine and want to share their energy, and I thought that was cool. I spoke with, of course, David Weiss a little bit with Mark Sargent, and of course Karen was there, and Ted, and Mark Devlin. I had a few words with him about like how people get into the system the wrong way and stuff like that. So it was interesting, all on the side. So That's cool.
Well, I'm glad you got to experience a meetup. I've been only to a few on the West Coast, and each time I go, I mean, you're not going to get along with everybody. You're not going to even vibe with everybody. However, you kind of pick who you do vibe with and who you do connect with, and I think that's the main thing I got is you. Just because everyone says they're a truther, it doesn't mean they're going to be a good friend who actually really is looking for the real truth. What's really going on? What is our reality? What are we struggling with? Like, why is this put on us, certain things? And I don't like to play victim mentality because we are not victims. However, we are all in this pot, and we got to figure out how to either jump out or turn down the heat a bit because we are getting no break after the whole COVID thing. We really got no break. Maybe a year or so of just being able to breathe again, and just nothing really happening, and then boom, all this all at once. And
earlier you were talking about reality, and you can almost predict what's going to be on TV these days. You're going to see the bomb-injured children wrapped up in blankets being carried away, and people are like, why? And you get that's what's going to be presented. We know it's going to be presented, and I will flip it on just to take a look, or I'll be in the gym and I'll check it out, and I'll be almost like shaking my head the whole time, like, oh man, there it is. It's obviously that's what they were going to present, and they did, and it's on and on. And then you were talking about how to get out, and I've been involved in mediumship, like I had mentioned before on the show, like years ago, and did readings and afterlife and stuff like that. And I've had some view of what seemed to be somebody in the afterlife, and also I had 2 follow-up dreams that very much match that environment. So I think there is a dimensional environment of light. It's not like a blinding light like you hear about, like walk into the light. It's a glowing realm that is completely quiet. I didn't hear any sounds whatsoever. It's all like mental. Like I can look at you and you look at me and you'll just know that what I'm thinking that I would like you to do and that kind of thing. It's like a mental link. And I've seen that. So I'm as far as I'm concerned, that's the closest thing I know to what's there, and maybe not exactly how to get there, because obviously, like, death is not doing it for a lot of people, and it seems like.
I just wonder if we're able to transport ourselves like out of this realm if we like focus hard enough, I don't know, can we? Because I feel like maybe that is the trick, that is the answer. And I'm not saying it's to escape, but come on, give us a break. Why can't we live in a reality that is just like a peaceful society, and countries are there for their people, and no one is poor, and this reality that we live in, it's I don't see it
the reality here is like that, but maybe only here, hopefully.
So so what state do you live in?
I'm right here. I'm like an hour from I'm less than an hour from Samstown in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. So did you ever live in Las Vegas? You mentioned Las Vegas and Arizona.
I'm in Las Vegas. I lived near Santa Barbara for a number of years.
Okay.
And that's where it got worse and worse and worse, and more like Clown World and everything. So
you say Santa Barbara?
Near Santa Barbara, yeah, just south, like maybe 10 minutes.
Because I hear San Francisco is not doing so good.
No.
Portland, Oregon is not doing well. There's a lot of homelessness and lots of even LA. Yeah. There's a lot of places that aren't doing it, New York.
The places that have done the worst are the people that have been manipulated the most and agreed to go in that direction the most. And without getting too deep into the D's and R's and the red and the blue and everything, the people that were just convinced that going that way was the right way. It's just like these new cameras they have in California that if you're going 11 miles over the limit, you're recorded and you'll be sent a warning. Then it'll be like $100. The next one will be $200. And basically it's just like, we gave you the warning. We told you the camera was going to be there. And the next step, and if people go, well, yeah, because I hear people squealing tires in my neighborhood, so I'm going to vote for that. That's what you're going to get. If you say, hey, I know that GPS tickets are the next step, so I'm not going to vote for it, maybe you have a chance. But you're going to choose your path. That's how it is. You're going to choose it.
Yeah. I just try to think like, man, like, I don't know, how are we going to get how are we going to get this back together? like to a state where people just don't suffer as much.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into detail, but I think there's two ways to at least start: is being aware of the misdirection and the deception, being aware of it, and then making use of some things that they think will go one way and turn them to your advantage. And I'm not going to get into any details or anything, but there are weaknesses in their system that can be almost used as a tool. And then hopefully long term, maybe there will be change, but I think being aware and it's just like war. Like what did the military say? It says take every advantage. If you can blind your enemy, do it. If you can strike them at night, do it. If you can, it's just surprise them, do it. And it's just like it's war. And in a sense, it's war. So you just have to take every advantage. That's how I see it.
I'm starting to believe it's more like a spiritual war, which the Bible talks about. That we are physical beings, but we are actually avatars, right? Being controlled by spirits. We are like in the ether, right? Everything is in the ether. So we are here just to manifest what we want to manifest at this moment in time. And we are all in this reality, this world of ours. And again, I'm just trying to believe that, or I'm seeing that it is more of a spiritual battle. And when things get hotter, you're going to see who is going to stand for what is light and what is representative of light. And then what the other side is darkness, there is no light. Based on the elevation that you vibe at, I think that is the battle right there. We're influenced so much to just vibe at such a low level with everything, right? Even relationships and just happiness in life and joy, right? Like it's just so low vibing,
I think the angle on that is the ether is a given, and I don't care what Einstein or anybody else says about no ether, that we are connected, and part of the game, whether it be spiritual or war or whatever, is to sever, disrupt, misdirect away from the connection. And there are many connections. It could be with me and you, me and God. It could be, but the whole idea is it's just like taking every advantage. Like, what are we going to do with these humans? Well, let's scramble them up.
Yeah,
and I would say that being aware, like I said, is going to give you a connection no matter what. But these like NPC types that enjoy it and vote for it and expect it, they may go 60, 80-year lifespan and never really connect, I think.
I mean, I'm not At this moment, I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about like me and my family. Like, how are we gonna like get through this? Like, I know, like, we will, or we have to, but it's not gonna be easy. It's you know, you see like a tidal wave coming. You know, what do? Like, do you fight it, or do you just try to like bunker down? Like, is it the time to bunker down? Like to take cover? I mean, it's a tidal wave. Like the economy, it's not going. It's not going to get better. It's a global flat Earth recession.
Yeah, you mentioned frequencies, and if you watched a recent Stavely show that I was on, I talked about frequencies and what I think about how we flow through time as individuals and live life. And I'm a believer in forward time, and a lot of people aren't. They say, "Oh, time's a construct," and no such thing. But I have signposts dating back a long ways where I remember specific events, things I went, family of things I went to, different cars I've owned. Like you're into that too. Like I have had an '86, I had a 2001, I had, you know, and I remember going to the deal and buying. So I've been through this time. Call it an illusion if you like, but it isn't for me. You know, I'm progressing through time, and I think like Jesus, and I bring up Jesus that maybe not exactly the person in the Bible, but a corrupted version of such, because what we're given, we know is not right. It's corrupted. We know that. But say there was a Jesus, and say he did conduct and perform miracles. I think it's frequency. For instance, like if I go to Lazarus and I see him dead, it was like John 9:11, right? Yeah, John 9:11. And he goes, "Oh, our brother has fallen asleep. I'm going to wake him up," is what Jesus said. I think Jesus had the power somehow, the advanced either ether connection or the power to adjust the frequency simply to a timeline where he didn't die. I think it's that simple. And the same with us. You say, "Well, what am I going to do with my family?" You got to manifest, and you got to try to frequency to the side, like a linebacker's coming to hit you. Just get out of the way, let them go. You know, like you got to be nimble and just learn or practice frequencing for yourself. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, maybe it's time with frequencies just really like bouncing off each other real hard right now. It's a time of unsettling. It's a time of transition. It's a time of repercussions, basically after COVID, because you don't just get scot-free after those 2 or 3 horrific, traumatic years. You know, and everyone had to endure it and suffer through it. Yeah, it's going to cause a repercussion, a consequence, and so we're just going to starting to get into these repercussions for I believe another 2 years at least, and it's only going to get worse. I'm not being a Debbie Downer. It's only going to get worse. It's not going to bounce back right away. People can't afford it. So they're spending less. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're spending as much, but they're getting less, and so they're not gonna want to like buy a new car when they know the economy is like that. They're not gonna want to go on trips, or they can't afford it. Simply, they just can't afford it. So these are the repercussions, and it is.
For the longest time, I was trying to assemble this whole game together. And for the longest time, like say 2018 to 2020, 2021, right. I was trying to piece it together. Like, what's this all about? Why is the public getting hammered down? Why can't things just be better? It'd be very easy for them to be better with less control, less restriction, just get out of the way kind of thing. And for a while, especially with my paranormal investigation, I was at the point of maybe we're dying and immediately shifting, not realizing we're dying in a new dimension, a new reality. That's a carbon copy of the worst, but a little less clear. It's like blurring. Each copy is more blurry. But I've cast that aside now for the frequency shift theory, because I think it's more likely that it's a frequency shift that we can actually control through like manifestation exercise. Like, for example, say that I wanted you to be in my house, and let's say in 6 months, my goal was for you to be in my house. Every day, I could imagine you walking through the front door, walking into the kitchen, looking at me going, hey, do you have a cold drink? Yeah, it's right in there. And I could have you in here in this environment in my house, and I could do that manifestation exercise over and over and over. I don't know if it would make it happen, but I think it would make it more likely. I think that's kind of part of the deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all involves our dreams in life, us manifesting our dreams, what we want to see happen. I believe, yeah, definitely, that is a real thing in terms of like, can I do it instantly, where like you appear right in front of my face?
Yeah, like Jesus, for example. Maybe.
I don't know, but I do know that this is more than just a physical place. There's too many synchronicities that has happened, too many signs that I've seen, and no, I'm not reading into things. Just too many occurrences, and I'm like, bro, did that just happen? And then when I explain it to somebody, they can't even give me a clear explanation why it would happen.
There's one question that's hard to get around, is that there's some kind of ambient, parasitic, call it demonic, evil influence here that just doesn't like things to go well in many areas. And if God created everything, including the serpent in the Garden of Eden, that he knew would deceive Eve, I mean, what's this all about?
Maybe it's a training ground for us. And maybe you chose to be here. Maybe I chose to be here at this moment in time to handle these problems, or at least be more aware of thyself, yourself, myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like maybe a internal training ground, a training ground of the I don't know, the strength within, the power within. It's definitely testing, right? It's not easy.
But do you think it's fair to put somebody through like basic training and send them to the front lines without even saying, hey, by signing on this paper, you've agreed to us taking over everything in your life, including like how you brush your teeth, when you wake up, when you
I believe in the law of consent, meaning everything is consented on. I mean, I'm not talking about, this person got murdered, or, you know what I'm saying? I'm just the law of consent, which is, that's just how reality usually works. It only happens because it is consented. It is only happening because it is allowed in general, right? If I were to go and, shoot you, that's not consent, right? You didn't consent to that. But usually, but at the same time, it's like they use that and they twist it a little bit and to make people feel like they consented, but they kind of manipulate it in a way or direct it in a way that people feel like they're consenting, but they're not really consenting. And that's the problem I have, is the influence, right? Like, you would agree, media has a lot of influence. Our financial system has a lot of influence. Right. So it's definitely a battle, right? That spiritual battle.
Like I said, if you just watch TV for 5 or 10 minutes, it's so obvious. It's an ugly joke. It hurts to laugh, but it's almost funny, but it hurts to laugh because it's even the weather reports start like 500 miles into space on a cartoon globe, and then zoom in, and at about 20 miles, suddenly you see Sacramento and the streets and everything. I mean, everything, even the weather, it's just it's like a continual attack, it seems.
So what do you think is driving this? Who do you think is driving?
It's hard to say. I've noticed from 2012 to about 2018, my inability to reach a goal spiked like 500%, because I've always been pretty able to take care of myself and get done what I need to get done, reach goals. Like, I want a motorcycle. Okay, I'm going to work. I'll work on a farm, a ranch, anything. I'll buy the most. I'll do. I've always found a way to just like get things done. But starting in about 2012, I've ran into so many snares, blocks, detours, lies, different things that it seemed it just spiked. And I don't know if that has any connection to prophecy or what. And that doesn't answer your like overriding, like the overreaching like evil idea. And who is that? I don't know. But I'm just saying that it seemed like it was turned up around 2012. That the problems were turned up, at least for me in my personal like path.
Interesting.
Yeah.
2012, huh?
And I don't know if that's the same for a lot of people, but up until then, man, I was just like knocking them down. Like, obviously, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, I'm strong enough, I could do it. But then it just started to get real rough.
During that time, people have had their iPhones for about 5 years. So the first iPhone was 2007. So that's 5 years later after people having iPhones. And I think that could be it, partly. People have these devices, right? And before then, they didn't really use these devices. So it's really impacted how we live.
Yeah. And the stuff in the news like HARP and all that, I mean, all that stuff was kind of ramping up. I don't know if it's connected, but it just seems something was going on.
Yeah. So what's the solution, Dave? We're calling Dave. What's the solution?
Yeah, I would say be aware and work on your manifestation skills. And it doesn't cost you anything. And maybe even like 10, 20 minutes a day. Get a good idea of what you want and make sure it's what you want, because just because it's trendy or hot or something that's cool right now, that may not be what you want. So really make sure it's what you want and work on your manifestation skills. I've been doing that, and I'm getting some success with it.
You know what? And what do we mean manifestation? Like what things do you do?
Like, just like I said, for instance, if I wanted you in my house, I would see you here. I would see you sitting on the couch. I would see you walking around, that kind of thing. What else would be a manifestation? It would be maybe like, say you've always had a problem with transportation. Like, you can't afford a car, you're always on a bus or something. You may be visualizing ease of movement and like, I'm going here to there and there's no stress. I can feel it. There's no stress at all. It's easy. And just like kind of work it that way. Because we're like, they talk about the invisible enemy. Man, I mean, who do you punch? There's like nothing to punch, really.
Maybe another word for that would be just have a positive attitude and just believe in positive things, and hopefully those positive things will come into fruition. Not only believe, I also really like that people pray, and it doesn't matter who you pray to, as long as you have that intention behind the prayer. That is somewhat of a manifestation type of practice.
Right.
To be grateful and have gratitude is definitely another type of practice to have, especially during this time. Just be thankful. Try to be thankful for the littlest things, because there will be moments in your day where you're like, oh man, like I have like nothing, or everything's going wrong, or whatever. But just try to be thankful, grateful for the person next to you, though, your loved one.
Yeah.
Your body, like things that like don't ache. Like, some people have like chronic pain, and
Yeah, it definitely could be a lot worse.
Exactly. So
when I finish my workout, I stretch for about maybe half a minute, 20 seconds to half a minute. And I'll say to myself, thank you, God, for this good workout. Then I'll go to the other leg and stretch it. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for today. And then I'll just walk out.
That's good.
And I do that once or twice a day, usually.
It's good to have that intention, that gratefulness, that attitude. It really matters. And, I need to remind myself more, try to have these exercises that I can just, like what you do throughout the day, just to put myself in that atmosphere, that space. Because we know right now that's all being sucked up and attacked. Like we're being attacked all sides. So gratefulness, thankfulness.
And I don't think it's going to be done by listening to somebody say, please stand, please kneel. Okay, please turn to your neighbor and show a sign of smile at them and shake.
Some people,
I don't think that's going to do it.
For some people, that might help them.
It might help them from really going the wrong way.
Some people,
but it may not help them go the right way, though.
Well, some people need that to.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know any other way. And that's their avenue for life. But for people like you or me, we might not need that type of influence. We can get it in other areas.
I'm thinking trying to prevent from slowing down is not the same as making speeding up happen. And that's what I see that. It's like it's not even a Band-Aid. It's it buys you a little time kind of thing. I don't think
for some people, it does lead them to the Creator, to God. And that's a start. As long as
do you think it could lead them away too, or what?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all of them.
Yeah, right.
I'm saying for some people, it really helps for them to find a direction to a Creator, a God who loves them. Because that is the start of finding happiness and peace, is knowing that your Creator is there for you, and that not only that, but you are accountable for your life. And right now, there is no accountability for nothing.
Do you think Source God initially said, commanded, or expected, or wanted ritual? Just what's your gut feeling? Like do this thing for me once a week, or do you think
that's maybe how a human might see it, but I don't
I would see it.
I think it's in maybe a God's perspective, who is all loving, right? So all religions believe that God is all loving. So it would be from the intent of, I want you to do this for me, but maybe doing this is maybe the best way for you, so that you don't implode yourself, where it's going now.
Well, even the Jehovah's Witnesses that show up with the black pants, white shirt, ties, backpack, and the literature, they're doing what they think is best, their way, and I don't know. It's just hard to say, but ritual. I guess it's possible that I don't look at God as a person. It's an energy to me. God is an energy.
Sure.
So I don't see
a different way.
Yeah, I don't see an energy wanting a ritual, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
In your lens, right, you see God a certain way. I think in other people's lenses, they see God in a certain way, a structured, maybe more structured way. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's just what they need. I don't. As long as they're not.
Is there a real God the real way, or is everybody's idea real?
Say that again.
For instance, if you say, I know God is a dragon, and that we have to dance around in gold costumes and ring bells because that's what God the dragon wants. And if I say, I think God is energy, you can call on God through the ether anytime you want. Are we both right? Or is there one God that is not a dragon or is not energy?
I don't know. I don't even think about these things. Yeah. I just know that for me, God is source, God is a creator, but God can also be many other things too. You know, God can be Jesus, God can be Buddha, you know, God can come down in many people. So who knows if God hadn't come down through Jesus at one moment, reincarnated, and, you know, become somebody else like Buddha, you know, like, why can't that happen? Why
I
can't
think
that be God?
I think the one thing that most religions have right is creation, and after that, you could just look at it as a root system, and you know
Yeah.
you're going to go where you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole, you know, analogy of the elephant, right? Like everyone's blind and everyone puts a hand on the elephant, right? That whole analogy. I really believe that's true, and some people might think that's corny, but it really does explain a lot of things. Like God is a lot of things.
Yeah,
Uh,
you've heard about the elephant and the chained leg, right?
yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same deal. You put a heavy chain with a metal band and a bolt around an elephant's leg, and you teach them to get used to not being able to move. And like, I understand this is my universe. I'm not going anywhere because every time I pull on it, I hurt my ankle. You could make that chain smaller and smaller and smaller, and the elephant's going to go, I'm chained, I can't move, because it's in his mind. You know, that works that way too.
Yeah. You know what? The current state of things where people are just so plugged online, I don't really see society changing much, like fighting against the man or the system, because they're all like glued to their phones. They're all like, there really is no like, everyone will like express themselves online, but I mean, really, does that do much? I hope, I mean, that can result in like major change, but honestly,
In my youth and my partying days, it was like punk, disco, that stuff. And I'm thinking, like, the music my parents listened to, how funky that was, you know, the bands, the big bands and all that stuff. And in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, when I'm like over 50, 60, please don't let me be that guy that's bashing the modern music, because, you know, it moves on. And I'll tell you, I pretty much loved all the music up to about 2000. And honest to God, they've lost me at that point. They've just lost me. I like all that stuff. I even liked like the New York rap and all that stuff. But man, when it got to that, like nothing repetitive, you know, love game and do it again and blah blah blah. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, call me old, but
Yeah,
I think current music is trash. Honestly, even the message behind it is trash. Television in general is trash,
yeah.
and it's sad what's being pushed out there, and it's through media, entertainment. Okay, so you gotta wonder, like, okay, what is driving this force, right? So think about it. Think about the state we're in with our economy and how finances is plummeting for everybody. So
Now, how do you?
as well. So you should really consider these things if you call yourself a truther. Don't be just stuck on flat Earth or Mandela effect. And those are great topics to maybe learn and educate yourself. But even here's my only one question, and maybe you can explain it to me, or any flat earther can explain it to me. But yes, we do see the sun shrinking sometimes, right, as it like goes further away. But if the moon has that same type of pattern, shouldn't we see also the moon shrink as well, similar to the sun as it goes away? So it doesn't have that same effect of the moon. So that's the only thing that's really bothering me. And no one has really addressed it. At least I haven't heard anybody address it.
I saw a video a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, from David Weiss, where he started talking about projections, because he gets asked about that so much. Like, is it just a disc? Like, you know, can we land on it and all that stuff? And he started talking projection like maybe 6, 8 months ago, but he's refined that to a home test where he set up a sheet, a projector behind the sheet, shone a light on the sheet, and he got a sun, right? And it makes one wonder, when there's an eclipse and the moon is like supposedly going to cross in front of the sun and like eclipse the the cutout and then cover it. Why we don't see the moon approaching the sun? All we see is just, hey, look, it's starting to go black. Like, I mean, I've heard that from different memes, you know, that people are going, no, you don't see it approaching. And Dave Weiss is coming up with a theory that the moon is behind the sun, is behind the projection, and the brilliance of the sun blocks us from seeing it moving in for the eclipse. Then it eclipses or blocks that projection and creates an eclipse. So the narrative is 93 million miles and 235,000 miles. It's a complete inversion, just like everything else. Just like Reagan and Obama, and
yeah, so
it's just an inversion.
I still have my questions about the moon. Flat Earth cosmology says that the moon also goes around, right? Around the.
I haven't studied that, but I've heard it does.
Maybe not all flat earthers believe that, but if the moon does go around similar pattern to the sun, it needs to, as it goes further away from you, it also needs to shrink, right? I mean, the point of perspective, it just doesn't go down the same.
If it's a thing, if it's a projection, then we're
flat earthers, their their belief in the system is that the moon goes around as well, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so
but do we know? We're working on it. You know, we're trying to figure it out.
If they say that's what they believe, then they should be more confident, especially with the question that I'm posing. The moon needs to act visually similar to how the sun leaves. Right? So,
if it was like the narrative says, would what you're saying work also? Like the narrative about we're spinning and it's circling us and all that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah.
I mean, there's more proof, I feel like, that it is flat because, of the test that they've done with the lasers. And you could see too far based on the curvature that they tell us, right? So that, in a sense, tells me it is flat. However, I still have other questions. So, I mean, if you were to ask a flat earther, they're like, are you fully convinced that the earth is flat? Then you kind of have to wonder, like, I mean, they had no questions at all about how things appear or look, or
the misdirection is so thorough. It's got to be baby steps because we just don't know.
Right, and a lot of people believe the moon is a projection. Not like something similar to the sun that goes around. Or maybe it does, I don't know. But
maybe it comes from the North Pole. Maybe there's a projector there. I don't know. Just like moving it like a searchlight. Who knows?
My mind is just blown whenever I look at the moon. I'm like, I can't figure this out. But
it's too bright to be a reflection from the sun. Way too bright. That can't happen.
Yeah,
especially with the Kuiper Belt supposedly in our atmosphere. It's just the whole thing just doesn't add up.
The moon looks different all the time. Like sometimes it's huge and it's red. Sometimes it's tiny, or sometimes it's like it has like a sliver. It's like it's changing all the time.
Right, and for the last year and a half or so, we're getting those like canoe moons, those crescents that are like smiles, like Cheshire smiles. I know Moneybags was bringing that up. Like he goes, in my reality, I don't remember seeing that year after year like that. And I had to agree. I'm like, gosh, I mean, even on your computer or on the weather or on your weather app, it's always like standing up, crescent, maybe tipped a little bit, but never, never smiling.
So, So Dave, like, are you full on flat Earth? You're full on Mandela effect? Or have you been in like the truth game for a while, or is this like just all recent?
No, just from early 2019 on that. Before then, I knew something was wrong, but I really didn't have the time, and I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't. It was there. It was like in another dimension. It was right there, but I couldn't see it. But then I saw it.
So for a while, you've known something was up.
Yeah. Well, in 1998, I went to church, and we had about maybe 80 people in the pews, and we recite the Lord's Prayer out loud. So we're there, Our Father, who art in heaven. When we got to the trespasses, about 10 of the 80 or 12 of the 80 said trespasses, the rest said debts. I'm like, I was one of the trespasses. I'm like, debts? So I knew in the late, like in around 1998, something, but I just, even with that, I just dismissed it. I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's like, I just didn't know what to think.
Yeah. I think we're just always shifting it between different vibrations in this reality. Kind of like a wave, right? Like certain waves will come, but it's not always the same wave. It's different waves. And our reality is, I think, feel very similar, where different types of waves will come in our reality, whether it's really a positive wave or negative. But right now we're going through a really tough wave, a tough energy.
You talked about CVID. You mentioned that. To me, in military thinking, it was almost like a flashbang. You know, when they break down your door, they throw this like boom, and then everything flashes. You are severely limited. Like your senses are screwed up. You're confused, and that was basically what they did to us. Like you're starting to catch on to flat Earth and Mandela effect, and they basically flash banged us worldwide. Is what they did. That's what they did.
Well, it's like a game, right?
Yeah.
How do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? And day by day, I try to surround myself with positive people who can help me during this time. It's easy to get depressed and just be so alone and feel so alone. Especially learning a lot and being open to a lot of things that may shock you, but you're still open to it. And some things that you're just not ready for. And some people, I believe, are NPCs, and they chose that route. And other people expect more, want more, want to understand more. And they're okay with that based on consent. So everyone's consenting to what they are faced with in life. And some people don't want to see it, right? They just want to be blinded and just be NPC'd out, which is fine. That's their life. However, I have to respect that. Like, I can't be like yelling at my brother or sister. How come you don't believe? Like, what's that gonna do, right? So, certain people choose a certain path, and I have to be responsible for my path. How I choose to live, what I choose to do with my time and who I spend it with, finding ways not to get scammed or duped in life in terms of the government or just Joe Schmo down the block, the car dealership guy, salesman, stuff like that. Like, there's so many like little booby traps, mines that you got to kind of like currently be aware of now. Things you got to be on top of and just worry about here and there, and this could bite you, that could bite you. It's like, geez, really, give me a break. I just need a break.
Yeah. Your question about like what that energy is, that dark energy. We're just going to have to think on it a lot, and you can't ignore the agenda to get the kids programmed by age 8. Like when I was age 8, they broke me. Man, I wanted to either be a religious leader, I wanted to be an astronaut, I wanted to kill in war. They pretty much had me. They pretty much and when I was age 5 and 6, I didn't want that, but they broke me. And why is that? Why do they have to do that?
Why?
Yeah, control. That energy, that dark energy.
They like it. They like sucking it up. They like it because it brings you down. Because they can only vibe on that low type of energy. So they want humanity to be that low. So it's definitely it feels like a magnet pulling you down. But
It's
you gotta
that, it's that they again, the they,
you gotta learn how to elevate. You pass through that. And I have to remind myself every day. Do the self care. Like Dave, you're going to the gym, right? You're taking care of yourself. Stay in shape, stay healthy, have a positive mind, a positive attitude. It's so important right now. Take walks, at the park. Play with like little dogs and cats, and like be around them. They'll give you good energy.
Fly a kite once in a while.
Yeah,
Get the sun in your face.
Yeah, go outside, spend time with family members, friends, give people hugs, tell people you appreciate them. Like, just because they're NPCs doesn't mean that you can't get a positive vibe off them. And,
that is huge. That appreciation. Just saying to somebody, "Hey, I appreciated when you did this," even if it was just like a pat on the back or a rub on the arm or something like, "Hey, that was reassuring. I appreciate you did that a couple of days ago. It made me feel better." That's awesome.
A little bit helps. Every little bit helps.
Yeah.
It not only makes them feel better, it makes you feel better. Get out there, get outside. Don't stick in your room. Like, yes, this is what we're doing. We have to do this because this is how we communicate online. However, don't just stay in your room. Get outside. Very important. I have to remind myself that as well because I work remotely from home. So I have to tell myself, take that break, take that walk, go around the neighborhood, get to know your neighbors, say hello, smile.
Yeah. And see, that's part of the manifestation exercise. So you're on it too. That's the same deal.
Yeah. You know what? This is what I learned. If you put yourself at a certain time and a certain place, that vibration will manifest it. Usually, right? So let's say, because I believe that certain times and certain places will result in a certain vibration based on who's there, right? So let's say like 2:00 in the morning, let's say at a bar, it's going to radiate that type of vibe, right? So you're going to meet people with that similar vibe. And if you want to vibe with that vibe, then go. But you have to determine what is the best time and place that will result in the best vibe for you. So it could be Thursday at 1 p.m. at a park. That vibe is totally completely different than, let's say, midnight on the street.
A good example is the Flattoberfest breaks that everybody kind of made their way to various like restaurants and stuff like that. Just that restaurant scene was so alien to me that, I performed in it and functioned okay, but I was out of my element and just kind of like making the best of it kind of thing. And it turned out okay, but like you're saying, you choose like we are where we want to be. You choose your manifestation base, I guess you could call it. Yeah. And like I said, I wouldn't be doing that once a week, but I think once a year is okay. The Flattoberfest, that's pretty cool.
Julio, is it Julio? Julio says, I've been going to the outdoors for 1 week at a time lately. Lots of times, that's why I've been MIA. Fishing, swimming, hiking, adventuring. Good for the trout of health. Yes, good job, buddy. Just getting out there. That's what we need to do. Not lock ourselves in a room watching another YouTube video, truth video, for like 5 hours. That's not healthy, guys. Honestly, it is not healthy.
Oh, I wanted to mention something when you were talking flat Earth earlier. I drove through the desert today, and there's a spot near Barstow, California, where it's Hodges Road. I did a short video on it. I actually did some camera work there with my phone. But on a very clear day, if you look north, and you could look at the map, even Google it, and you could see, well, there's a mound here, there's a mound there. So you have a feel for like what you're looking at when you look in the distance, like as far as which direction. Way off to like the northwest, there's a crescent mountain range at 68 miles. And then kind of more straight north, just behind it at 72 miles, there's another crescent. I was driving down that freeway today, extremely clear conditions. I could see both of them, no problem at all, 72 miles away. And they're like, oh, I don't know what they are, 2,800 feet tall or something, high or something like
You
that.
can see way too far.
I mean, it's just so, it's right there, you know? Yeah. And on most days, you may get like a shadow, like, oh, that looks like it could be a ridge. But today I was just like looking at it. It's like, there it is. Yeah.
So how come you didn't go to Flattoberfest this year?
I did.
Wait, is it over?
Yeah. Sunday night officially was over. Today was the parties.
I'm okay because I'm confused because Brian's still posting videos. I'm like,
yeah, it's the after part. And actually, that's why I was in California picking my son up today. So I was really good. I didn't drink a drop of like beer Sunday, and I left about 7:30, and it went on till probably 1 a.m. if you count the
are people
parties.
still hanging out there or no?
What's that?
Are people still there?
Not officially. There may be just the core group of like people from North Carolina there, like together, but that's about it.
Wow. So how would you describe it? Like, give me like 3 words that you would describe this event that you went to.
What I thought of the whole thing?
Sure.
I really liked the presentations. They were what you used to seeing like online from these speakers, but maybe a little more hard hitting, and it would be way over the head of just like, say, somebody just getting into it or an NPC type. But it was interesting to hear like the really pure hardcore delivery on a lot of this stuff, and they didn't have to hold back with the lingo. Like they didn't have to say, I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to get you in trouble. But yeah, they just like basically just shot it straight. And that was good. That was refreshing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you get to see Daryl Davis?
I was not there the whole time because I was out with friends I met, and we went out to eat and we did different things. So I missed some of the speakers. I don't think I saw Daryl Davis.
Cool. Wow.
I did experience the sound bath. That was cool. And that's Chad Davis, isn't it? The sound bath guy.
Honestly,
he had gongs, triangles, flutes, and he did this healing sound bath thing for about, 20 minutes. That was cool. Starting at around noontime on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it almost seemed like it was kind of Native American, but I don't know if that's what it was supposed to be, but that's the vibe I got from it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's definitely a way of being open-minded when you go to a Flat Earth event, right? You got to be somewhat open-minded because everybody is open-minded. And you get to learn about all these different things. It's really cool. Even to connect with certain people. Like, you just run into people who are like, oh, I'm into this. I'm like, really? Or I can do this. I have this talent. And it's like, what?
And I think it's funny that, okay, even though you're there, you paid for the ticket, I think everybody's been burned enough and aware enough that there's still that chance that there may be somebody there that's, say, more of an intelligence gatherer rather than somebody that's really. So I think everybody has that factor of maybe let's be careful till we know these people a little more. But generally, I think it's accepted. But it's just the way it is, and the way it is, it's how it is. Like when I was talking to Mark Devlin, I don't think he was sure if I was like on board with the whole like waking up and trying to get things better and love thy neighbor and stuff like that. And he has reason to, and I don't blame him.
All right, I'm going to post a link again. If you guys want to join Dave, Coffee Zero, and I on this show, click the StreamYard link, and we will add you onto this video. We're just chit-chatting away. Hugh TV likes to stay in his own lane. I'm just who I have my opinions. Everyone has their own opinions. We just like to discuss here and there what's on our minds. No big deal, right?
You know,
Just
I'm glad we talked a little bit about changing things and manifestation. That's important.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Your attitude is definitely the most important thing. I suggest as well prayer. Prayer is important. Whoever you pray to, okay, it's again the intention behind the prayer that is strong. It is that is the manifestation in itself. So if you need help, this is I've experienced this. When I needed help, I just prayed. Just God help me. Just that simple prayer. Um, and you'd be surprised what comes into your life, and that actually would help you. But you need to put yourself in that position, that vibration, to even ask humbly for your help, for help. Because you never know what will be answered, and whether it's your own manifestation or coming from a higher source. Who knows? Maybe from your guardian spirits, your guardian, your guiding spirits. Who knows?
You know, Brian, myself, and others spoke with people that are kind of new to all of this, and the ones that are kind of on the not sure about the Mandela effect and stuff like that. And I know we got a lot of people thinking. You know, I was talking to a guy from Australia. I guess him and his wife like just came from Australia for the event. It looked like it, and you know, he was good, but you could tell he was really guarded. Like he didn't want to buy into anything. He goes, well, that's a possibility. I've heard about that, and you could tell he was just kind of uncomfortable with going there. And I just softly hit him with like time glitches, different various Mandela effects, personal things I've had happen to me, like spatial glitches and stuff like that. And he was saying stuff like, you know, when I was here, that kind of happened to me. And you know what I mean? It was like, so it was pretty interesting. It really was interesting in that regard. And I showed him like the razzle dazzle ships, and he's like, man, I don't remember seeing those. You know, usually you ask him, hey, you know, you good with history, like wars, like Pearl Harbor, Midway, you know, you've seen the movies and stuff, and, you know, the tank battles, and you kind of like, you know, the netting on the guns and stuff like the camo. Let me show you this. And then they see that razzle dazzle. And I think I ran into one person out of about 50 that said, oh yeah, they use that in war.
Yeah, there's some definitely intense Mandela effects. And if you have or you're not aware of Mandela effect, please look into it. There's many hundreds, even thousands that maybe we are not even aware of. Little things to big things. So amazing, the Mandela effect.
And you know what I'm considering that's almost a surety? And I think I've mentioned this, maybe you are aware of, like when I was talking about it, is that some of these Mandela effects say like 98% of us see. Some maybe 90% of us see, and others were like, well, we just don't know. Like Luca and your father know him. If I have no idea, I can't tell you. How many occur that maybe say 1% of people see, and reality just like keeps tweaking and changing, and we don't even know the difference. Like I'm talking worldwide, like stuff. It's almost guaranteed to happen.
It just proves that we are in a really shifty reality, very fluid, always changing every day. Even people will change. Believe it or not, people will change based on their vibration, based on the vibration. So we have to be aware and just accept the fact. The Mandela effect tells us reality is fluid.
You know, I had my son over. He's here now. I just picked him up today, but I had him here about 2 years ago. And when he showed up, like when I was with him face to face, on his cheek, like right here, he had like 2 round birth spots. They looked like BB size, exactly like BBs, just 2 side by side. I looked at him. I'm like, I never remember seeing those. Right. And I didn't say anything, of course, but then later I privately dug into some old photos like 5 years ago, 8 years ago. They were there. But I'm like, I just don't remember those spots on his cheeks.
And they were in the photo?
Excuse me?
You said that you saw them in the photo?
They were in the photos. They're in all the photos, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it wasn't like something that just like appeared or like a medical thing. So I don't know
This world is wacky, insane, all at once. But at the same time, we do have the control within our minds to stay calm, peaceful, as much as possible. And I know it's hard. Everyone's in their own predicament or situation. I know it can be difficult. However, the goal, I believe, is to learn how to remain calm, peaceful, focused. You know what I'm saying? In this reality, in this world, despite what is happening. So it's easy to say, I know, but it's very hard to.
And you're going to be here, so you might as well live as good a life as you can. You're going to be here, one way or the other.
You're going to suffer, so might as well suffer in a way of light and hope, or suffer in the way of darkness and depression. You know, like no way out. So you choose.
It's a choice. It's a vote.
It's basically by consent. You know, you can fall into one or the other. It's both of it is going to be hard, right? However, one will be more rewarding in the end than the other. Maybe for temporary, issues, it might be easier on this planet or in this place that we live on. However, in the long run, with your mental stability, mental health, think of your body, physical health as well, emotional health, everything. I recommend sticking with the light, sticking with positive energy, positive vibes. It'll keep you healthy in the long run. Be of things that are creative, that will help your fellow man. Do that. Be a part of that. That will give you good energy. Because if you just think about yourself, woe is me, I'm the victim, then you're just going to drain yourself of energy.
Yeah.
Find your hope in people. Help your common man. You know more. We should be more accountable, right? Because we know the truth. So definitely help those out there, whether it's a wisdom of truth or just helping them physically, serving them.
Hugh, my son is here. I'm going to have a coffee, see how he's doing, and I'm going to watch the stream, so I hope somebody else hops back up on stage.
Right, cool. All right.
I'm going to go back on the other side of the screen.
All right, thanks for joining.
Okay. All right, see you all. Thank you.
See you later, buddy. Wow, now it's back to me monologuing. Or maybe I was monologuing. Thanks for joining, guys. We're going to take a break. We're almost past the 2-hour mark. Let's take a break. We'll be back.
Hey, idiots! The bong stays in the treehouse!
Hey, boy.
Are you crazy? What if the cops come? You're here too?
Yeah, must be weird for you. And think about this, man. The whole world is happening right now. I mean, India, China, it's crazy.
Can you just leave me here with my dad?
All right, sure. I can fly! No, I can't!